Just turn it more.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Haribo, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranams.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We are all very fortunate to have you here with us, your association. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So as we all know, His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu is a very senior devotee. He's a senior disciple of His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So His Grace Kripanidhi Prabhu joined Iskcon sometime in 1972. That's now 50 years, such a long time. So we will have the golden jubilee now of Prabhuji's joining. So, and he has served Srila Prabhupada's mission for so long in so many various capacities, as in managerial capacities, as a temple president, so many other ways, and even in preaching capacities, traveling, doing book distribution, and so many ways, different ways we can hear Prabhuji has done. And Prabhuji was also in India sometime in 1980s, and as president of Iskcon Delhi, was instrumental in various services. Particularly, I heard of university preaching. Prabhuji started for so many years and made so many Bhakti Yoga clubs in premier universities there. And he was also instrumental in scientific preaching along with the Bhaktivedanta Institute, organizing a symposium of religion and science. So many ways Prabhuji has served this mission of Lord Chaitanya, served Srila Prabhupada. So we are all very fortunate today to have Prabhuji with us, to give his time and to give his valuable association to all of us. Thank you, Prabhuji. Over to you now. Hare Krishna.
Haribo, Prabhu. What's your name?
My name is Prabhuji Srivasangan Kirtan Das.
Srivasanga Kirtan Das. Haribo. It's very appropriate that I'm in Mayapur then, speaking to you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji is now in Mayapur for many years now, and is involved in Sankirtan, book distribution, preaching, inspiring devotees there, and all over the world also inspiring devotees. So we will have now the opportunity to take Prabhuji's valuable association.
Haribol. Thank you all for attending the class. I am very deeply appreciating and honored by your presence. And hopefully we can get some realization and some illumination from this Bhagavad Gita verse. So I'll begin by offering my respects to my spiritual master, Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Desdharine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jana Jana Shalakaya Chakshu Unnamilitam Gena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivrindam. I thought I'd read from chapter 12. This is one of my favorite passages in Bhagavad Gita. Describes what the conscious psychology of a pure devotee, one in pure devotional service, what is he like? So that's 12, 13, 14. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samaduka sukakshami. Santushta satatam yogi yatatma jnanishchaya mai arpito mano buddhir yomad bhakta same priyaha. Advaishta, non-envious, Sarvabhutanam, toward all living entities. Maitra, friendly, Karuna, kindly, Eva, certainly, Cha, also, Nirmamo, with no sense of proprietorship, Nirahankara, without false ego, Sama, equal, Dukkha, in distress, Sukha, and happiness, Shami, forgiving, Santushta, satisfied, Satatam, always, Yogi, one engaged in devotion, Yatatma, self-controlled, Dridhanishchaya, with determination, Mai, upon me, Arpita, engaged, Manaha, mind, Buddhi, and intelligence, Yaha, one who, Mad Bhakta, my devotee, Saha, he, May, to me, Priya, dear. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. One who's not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine, is very dear to me. Purport. Coming again to the point of pure devotional service, the Lord is describing the transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee in these two verses. A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks, this person is acting as my enemy due to my past misdeeds. So it is better to suffer than to protest. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse number 8, it is stated, Tatena kampam shushamikshmano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it is the Lord's mercy upon him. He thinks, thanks to my past misdeeds, I should suffer far, far greater than I am suffering now. So it is by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that I'm not getting all the punishment I am due. I'm just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he's always calm, quiet, and patient, despite many distressful conditions. A devotee is always kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Nirmamo means that a devotee does not attach much importance to the pains and trouble pertaining to the body, because he knows perfectly well he is not the material body. He does not identify with the body. Therefore, he is freed from the conception of false ego and is equipoised in happiness and distress. He is tolerant and he is satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of the Supreme Lord. He does not endeavor much to achieve something with great difficulty. Therefore, he's always joyful. He's completely perfect mystic because he's fixed in the instructions received from the spiritual master and because his senses are controlled. He is determined. He is not swayed by false arguments because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. Furthermore, he is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. All these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotional service is undoubtedly very rare, but a devotee becomes situated in that stage by following the regulative principles of devotional service. Furthermore, the Lord says that such a devotee is very dear to him, for the Lord is always pleased with all his activities in Krishna consciousness. That is the end of the purport. And we can unpack some of these items describing the qualities of a pure devotee. We know the one who Prabhupada used to say, when you put iron in fire, it becomes fire-like. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana savayar gunais tatra samasate suro aro bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena asati dabato bahi. That one who becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, he has all the qualities of the demigods. And although one who is a non-devotee may have certain good qualities, manoratenasati davato bahi, he's always hovering on the mental platform in duality, heat and cold, situshna, or honor and honor, tatam and upamanayo. He's thinking about honor, dishonor, loss and gain, fame and infamy. In so many ways, on the mental platform, there are the dualities of positives and negatives. So the devotee, because he's on the transcendental platform, mamchiyo vyabhicharana bhaktiyo gena sevate, sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He's completely on the transcendental platform because he's always remembering Krishna. And one who is remembering Krishna, it's like putting the rod of iron in the fire. The mind, the consciousness becomes completely spiritualized. Satchit Ananda Vigraha, Lord Krishna's body is completely transcendental, made of Satchit and Ananda. He has unlimited potencies. Anasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shriyate. Swabhavaki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. The Lord Krishna has so many different potencies within his own body. He can do anything at any time, under any circumstances. So, devotee of the Lord, he submerges his consciousness, his mind, his senses, his words, everything in the service of the Lord. Iha yasya harir bhaktir karmana manasa gira. So his activities, his mind, his intelligence, as it says here, Maya arpata mano buddhir means one who completely embeds his consciousness and his intelligence in serving the Lord. So this is pure devotional service, and being on the transcendental platform, as Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prashanatma Nasochati Nakankshati. Like, what is Brahma Buddha? Is it just merging in the impersonal Brahman, as Sankaracharya taught? No, it's actually entering into the transcendental activities, form, qualities, and descriptions and instructions of Lord Krishna as given by Sukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Pariksit. So the devotee is only concerned about pleasing the Lord and remembering the Lord. Queen Kunti also, she prayed to Lord Krishna when she met Lord Krishna at Kurukshetra after the war. She said, Vipada Shantutash Shatvat Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yatyat Apunam Bhava Darshanam. She told Krishna that let some calamities come. I don't care about calamities as long as I can see you again and again. And in that way, I can stop the repetition of birth and death. So here Prabhupada describes a devotee, even if he's in distress and falls into difficulty, he accepts that as the Lord's mercy. It gives him an opportunity to depend more and more on the Lord. Maya Veshamanoye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shadavam Pariyopetas Teme Yukta Tamo Mataha. Maya Veshamanoye Mam, one who's always thinking of me, Nitya Yukta Upa, constantly, eternally, 24 hours a day, always serving the Lord, like that person is very pleasing to Krishna. And here Prabhupada quotes from the 10th canto of the 14th chapter, the 8th verse, a famous verse, Tatenu kampam shushamikshmano bunjane vatmakritam vipakam Rigvag babhubir vidadhanamaste jiveta yomukti pade sadayava. The one who accepts all the trials and tribulations in this world and goes on serving the Lord, understanding that he could have suffered a lot more had he not been under the shelter of the Lord. Being under the shelter of the Lord reduces the suffering that is allocated to him by his acts, his karmic activities in previous lifetimes. So the devotee is always thinking, it should have been much worse, but the Lord has reduced my suffering, and I simply have to depend on the Lord. Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanastu Mamparta Daivim Prakritim, that devotees of the Lord are always under his divine protection. So when we take shelter, when we surrender to Krishna and to the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna, then Krishna takes over. And Prabhupada would say, just like a fan, you pull the plug out of the wall, but the fan is still going. So similarly, there will be suffering to this material-minded body, even though I've surrendered to Krishna, because we're living here in this material world where there's all kinds of vicissitudes, all kinds of, material, adhyatmika, adhibhotika, and adhidaivika kleshas. There's so many kleshas in this material world. Kleshas, anxieties, faults, and negative elements within the world. The example is that Arjuna and Yudhisthira Maharaj and the Pandavas, they underwent so many trials and tribulations, and Queen Kunti prays about that. She says, you saved us from poison, from the shellac fire, from the gambling matches, from so many trials and tribulations, from the evil Kauravas. In so many ways, they tried to kill the Pandavas, but Krishna always protected them. And ultimately, the Pandavas, they attained success in their struggles. Because, of course, wherever there's Krishna Arjuna, there's victory, morality, strength. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhananjaya. In this 18th chapter, Sanjaya Uvacha, he says that wherever there's Krishna and Arjuna, there's morality, victory, strength, success. So the devotee goes through life, and Advaishta Sarvabhutanam, devotee is non-envious. Just as Krishna, he's non-envious. Samoham Sarvabhuteshu Name Dveshostina. Name Dvesho, he says, I'm not envious of anyone. I'm just in an equal to all. In fact, when Krishna kills the demons like Hiranyakashipu or Kansa or any demon, they get Shishupal, they get Swarupya Mukti. They go to the Vaikuntha planets, and he can even get the same features as the Lord, the same opulence of the Lord. I mean, when Krishna killed Putana, she became a maid servant to Mother Yashoda in the spiritual world. So Krishna is all good, just like the sun. He's all good. Apapavidham. So non-advaishta, sarvabhutanam, non-envious. He's actually the well-wisher of all living beings. Ye bhajanti tumang bhaktya maite sheshu chapyaham. He said, the one who gives his life to the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna, the bona fide spiritual master, hence pleasing Krishna himself. He's very, very, he attracts the attention. He attracts the attention of the Lord, and the Lord becomes very pleased. Maitra Karuna Evacha. He's friendly to all living entities. What is that friendship? What does that translate into? Friendship to all living entities means Paraduka Duki. Prahlad Maharaj, he risked his life and he preached to his classmates. Although Hiranyakashipu was very angry at him, as Hiranyakashipu was asking Prahlad was sitting on his lap, and he asked Prahlad, well, what did you learn in school today? Did you learn politics? Did you learn how to defeat the enemy? Did you learn how to defeat the enemy and align yourself with friends? And Prahlad Maharaj says, the best of what I've learned, which was from Narada Muni, is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vedanam. The 9 processes of devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord is the best of all learning. And when Hiranyakashipu heard that, he threw him off of his lap and told Sandanamarka, the teachers, what are you doing? How have you let the enemy into our camp? You should punish, we should kill this boy, like that. So devotee of the Lord will take all risks and tolerate all hostility towards him, simply to deliver this message of love of God, this message of God consciousness to the innocent living beings. As it is described that the Madhyamadikari, and Srila Prabhupada always encourage us to rise to the platform of Madhyam. Don't remain as a Kanishta. Kanishtas only see the Lord in the temple, so they go to temple and the Kanishta Adhikari will pray to the Lord, please give me healthy children, good wife, praying to the Lord for material things, and simply concerned with his own bhajan. But the higher transcendent, the higher platform of devotional service is Madhyam. Madhyamadikari is like Prahlad Maharaj. Naivod Vijay Para Duratya Vaitaranyam Tadvirya Gayana Mahamrita Magnachita Sochetato Vimukacheta Sa Indriyartam Maya Sukhayam Baram Udvahato Vimudhan. Prahlad Maharaj tells Lord Nrsingadev that I'm really not afraid of anything in this material world beyond the Vaitarani river, because I'm always absorbed in Amrita, in the nectar of your transcendental leelas and form. Tadvirya Dayana Mahamrita Magnachita. My consciousness is always absorbed in your transcendental paraphernalia, pastimes, instructions, etc. Holy name. So Chetato, my only lamentation is for those who are caught up in this Maya Sukhaya, this false happiness of material consciousness, this false association with the material body, aham mameti, I and mine mentality. And therefore, they're simply caught up in society, friendship, and love. Bara means a social convention, society, friendship, like that. So Chaitato Vimukha Chaitasa Indriyartha Maya Sukaya Baram Udvahato Vimudha. They're bewildered by this illusory energy of the Lord, the external potency of the Lord in the form of a Durga. A Durga means a prison. So they're imprisoned because of their intense desire to enjoy this material world through their senses. But this human form of life, Prahlad Maharaj tells his friends, is very, very rare. Kumaramachat pragyo dharmam bhagavataniyan durabam manushim janma. The human birth is extremely rare, and one should simply pursue understanding of what I am and who I am and what is my relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Creator, Maintainer, and Destroyer of the universe. That is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Proprietor. Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So this is the only attempt of the devotees of the Lord. The only endeavor is to Maitra Karuna, to always have compassion, Karuna. That is one of the 26 qualities of Srimati Radharani. Karunya. She is extremely compassionate, and she is the greatest devotee of the Lord. And so devotees, they follow in the footsteps, tat karma pravartana. They follow in the footsteps of the great personalities, great acharyas, and they try to please Srimati Radharani by extending themselves to the fallen conditioned souls and trying to lift them back to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So, nirmamo nirahankaro. Devotee has no sense of proprietorship. He sees that everything belongs to Krishna. And this mentality is clearly illustrated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in many of his songs of Sharanagati. Manasa Deho Geho Yokichumora Arpilantuapada Nandikishora. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great acharya in the Vaishnava line, Gaudiya Vaishnava line, has stated that his mind, his body, his household, everything is simply the property of the Supreme, the son of Maharaj Nanda, Nanda Kishore, the boy of Maharaj Nanda. So we see everything as belonging to the Lord, and we use everything in the service of the Lord, as directed by the six Goswamis, Prapanchikateya Buddha Hari Sambandhi Vastuni Mumukshavi Parityago Falgu Vairagyam Uchite Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatarham Upayunjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchite. Rupa Goswami says that when one uses everything in the service of Krishna, his wealth, his brain, his body, his possessions, everything is to be seen as a way, opportunity of serving Lord Krishna. This is called Yukta Vairagya, or positive renunciation. That nirmamo, it doesn't belong to me, but it belongs to someone. So I offer it back to the original and real owner of everything. That is the Supreme Lord. So devotees, we reject this impersonalistic idea that I become detached from everything because it's all illusion. Jagan Mithya, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, that the only truth is the Brahman effulgence of Krishna. The Brahman effulgence, they don't say Krishna. And Jagan Mithya, this whole world, Bhumi Apanolo Vayu, Kamano Buddhi Avacha, earth, air, fire, water, mind, intelligence, false ego, all these things are simply complete illusion. No, they're not. They're Krishna's material energy, he says. in the Bhagavad Gita. So the next is Nirahankara. We don't act out of false ego, even if there's some attack on the devotee, some affrontal to a devotee. The devotee just sees that is actually the material modes of nature working on this person. Person is under the influence of passion and ignorance, and therefore they are averse to the existence of God, and therefore the preacher takes many risks. And as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed us, Trinadapi Sunichana Tur Eva Sahishnuna. The one should remain himself, consider himself lower than the straw in the street, more insignificant than a straw where people walk on. We should feel ourselves lower than that. And we should be more tolerant than the tree. Like the tree, it tolerates heat, it tolerates cold, it tolerates so much abuse. People come, break the branches, they take fruits, they don't thank the tree. The tree merely offers things without getting any kind of appreciation or acknowledgement or, euphemism. So, Nirahankara. I'm not the body. I'm not this brilliant mind that one may have a brilliant mind. So Albert Einstein, he discovered general relativity, and they say Einstein's theory of relativity. No, it's not. It's Krishna's theory of relativity. Krishna put in all these different forces, weak force, strong force, different forces, gravitational forces, all types. It's all comes from, without any effort, Krishna's produced all these various laws within the universe. So Nirahankara, no, we give the credit to Lord Krishna. Samaduka Sukakshami, one who is equal in distress and in happiness. So there may be some distress. One may not be succeeding in some endeavor that one has. But Krishna says, Mapalesha Kadachana, you should not be attached to the outcome of the activities that you perform. Karmani hiya veda karma state, Mapalesha Kadachana, not karma phala hetu. You should not be attached, nor should you be attached, even if you can't do your duty. Krishna tells Arjuna, don't be attached. Just endeavor to your best. Try your best and leave the rest to Krishna. So Sukha and Dukkha, that's the dualities in the material world, where the devotee sees himself as spirit soul. Everyone is allotted a certain amount of material happiness, a certain amount of distress. It's already written inside the womb. Karmana daivane trena deho jantu papataya striyo pavishtamadarat pumsareta kanashraya. Kapila Dev says, based on one's karma, the soul is injected by way of the semina into the womb of the mother. And this is all based on one's previous karmic activities. So one simply accepts that he has so much material dukh and so much material sukh. And he continues to be like Prahlad Maharaj, Prahladalada, Prashanatma. It means always joyful in Krishna consciousness. And Shami means always forgiving. Devotee doesn't hold any grudges against anyone. He sees that this person is influenced by the demoniac qualities, or he's influenced by the mode of ignorance. Therefore, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krodha Parushyam, Dambo Darpo Vimanasya, Krodha Parushyam Evacha. Qualities of the demon are pride, arrogance, false pride, abhimana, condescending, kruda, anger, like that. So these are qualities of a demon. And the devotee is always tolerates any kind of offense, and he is also, more than that, very forgiving. Just like Haridas Thakur, he was being beaten in 22 marketplaces. The Muslim governor said that how could he give up Islam and become a Hindu? So they decided that unless he renounced Hinduism, he would be beaten in 22 marketplaces. And Haridas Thakur, while being beaten, was praying to Lord Chaitanya and praying to Krishna, please, let me take on all their karmic reactions and let them go back to Godhead. The karmic reactions of beating a devotee of the Lord, a great devotee of the Lord. Haridas Thakur was praying to Lord Chaitanya, please let me accept their sinful reactions and let them go back to Godhead. So although Lord Chaitanya wanted to send his Sudarshan Chakra, the prayers of Haridas Thakur were so powerful that Sudarshan Chakra was not allowed to do its deed and kill these constables who were beating Haridas. So that is Shama, to be forgiving. So quite a bit of time that I've been talking. Is it time for questions, or I can't see the time right now?
Prabhuji, this is 8:35 now.
Oh, I have 8:40. I'm in Mayapur.
Yeah, just 8:38. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay. So
as you wish, you want to speak a little more and then take the questions, or whatever.
Oh, okay. I can keep, whatever you like. I just didn't want to overextend, pass over the time limit. So, Santushta Satatam Yogi, as Krishna tells Arjuna, Tushyanti cha ramanti cha, my devotees, Madgata, Madchita Madgata Prana, Bodhayantas Parasparam, Katayantas Chamam Nityam, Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. Krishna tells Arjuna that the lives of my devotee are dedicated to me. My devotees, their minds are always fixed on me. Their lives are dedicated to me. Katayantas cha chamam nityam. They're always discussing about my transcendental pastimes, my transcendental glories. Krishna is engaging in so many transcendental pastimes in Vrindavan or in Mathura or in Dwarka. And so devotees are always absorbing their minds in the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his beauty. He has extraordinary beauty. He's seen always accompanied by the flute. He engages in unusual pastimes with his devotees, and he's always surrounded by loving devotees who are under the influence of Yoga Maya. They don't even care that he's God. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss by always describing these glories. When Krishna disappeared from the Rasa Leela dance, the gopis were imitating his pastimes. One gopi would pretend to be the Trinavarta, the whirlwind demon, and another gopi would get on their shoulders and say, I'm the Bala Gopal Krishna, little Krishna, I'm going to kill the Trinavarta. Like this, they were enacting Krishna's pastimes. So they were actually with Krishna in his aprakash, in his unmanifest form. Santushta, that is the only source of satisfaction, is Katayantas Chamam Nityam, always glorifying the Lord. And Rupa Goswami says, Atyahara Prayashis Cha Prajalpa. The opposite is Prajalpa, always glorifying mundane topics, mundane activities, mundane politics, just mundane. The tongue is just like a frog. And if it's glorifying some material things, it's just like the frog calling on death, calling the snake of death to come and eat him. So to step over the head of death, devotees are always glorifying the Lord. In this way, they're always under his protection. So Satushta Satatam Yogi. Yoga means to always engage in pure devotional service. That is described by Krishna in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmanam shadavam brajate yomam sa me yuktatamo mataha. That of all the yogis, one who engages in my devotional service with great faith and determination, and he is the highest of all different types of yogis who practice Astanga Yoga, Prana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, all types of yoga systems. But the ultimate goal, as Sukadeva Goswami states in the 1st canto, Vasudeva Para Yoga. The purpose of yoga, the ultimate objective is Vasudev, Krishna. Krishna is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Yatatma Drida Nischaya. Yatatma means to be always self-controlled. So devotee of the Lord, he doesn't involve himself, his mind and senses in sense gratification. Because he knows, as Prabhupada describes in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that the senses are just like snakes and they're always ready to bite. So devotee or the aspiring devotee is just like a turtle. The turtle, once he's finished his business of moving around or swimming in the water, he pulls his limbs back into it within his shell. So devotees are may engage in various activities for Krishna. Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira. But then once completing his task for Krishna, he pulls his limbs back in, figuratively anyway. He doesn't think that, oh, I've worked so hard today, now I should go and enjoy my senses. As Prabhupada says, in Kali Yuga, in the materialistic society, they're simply going to nightclubs and brothels and taking intoxication. And he said this is simply a dungeon of demons in the 1st canto, where Krishna is just leaving the Pandavas and going to Dwarka. So, Yatma Drida Nishtaya, of course, Drida Nishtaya means with determination. Determination comes from mind and sense control. Samadhamma tapaso cham. Tapasya, Dhamma, and Sama. Mind control, sense control. Tapasya means accepting some bodily inconvenience, accepting some restraint on the senses, some denial of the senses, for the purpose of self-realization, for the purpose of pleasing the Lord. Krishna says, whatever tapasya you do should be done as an offering to me. Yat karoshi yat ashnasi, yat jahosi dadasi, yat tapasvasi kunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. That whatever tapasya and self-control you're doing is not just for your own emancipation, but it's how to please Krishna. Durvasa Muni was a great tapasvi. He was extremely austere, but he was a victim of his anger and his false pride. We know that he tried to kill Maharaj Ambarish, because Maharaj Ambarishi felt offended by him for breaking his fast in front of Durvasa. And Durvasa became angry and tried to kill Maharaj Ambarish. And Sudarshan Chakra was sent by Lord Vishnu to destroy Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni, of course, had to go back and beg forgiveness at the lotus feet of Maharaj Ambarish. So the tapasya has to be done for Lord Krishna. Otherwise, it is simply a waste of time. All one's activities have to be centered on serving Lord Krishna. Dharma swanustita pumsham vishvaksena kata suyat not pariyadvidi ratim shema evahi kevalam. All activities which are performed without invoking devotion to the Lord, simply a waste of time. First canto. Maya arpitamano buddhir. So arpita mano buddhir, to engage your mind and intelligence. How can I serve Krishna with my intelligence? Well, with the intelligence, we have to discriminate what is favorable for my devotional service, what pleases Krishna, and we have to reject that which is unfavorable in our devotional practices. This is the use of intelligence. And of course, the mind, hearing and chanting, and then smaranam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Shmaranam. When we study the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says one is studying with one's intelligence. This is Buddhi Yogam, the message of Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. And there, that's almost the end of these two verses. Yomad Bhakta Same Priyaha. These are qualities of a devotee which very much pleases the Lord. So these are like milestones that we can observe to check our devotional service. We can assess our devotional service. Am I being tolerant? Am I being selfless, free from the false ego? Am I friendly? Am I trying to deliver fallen conditioned souls? Especially one who's born in Bharatvarsh. Bharata Bhumite Manusya Janma Hoil, Janma Sartaka Kara, Parakara Upakara. One who's taken birth in this land of gods and rishis, then their duty is to embrace this Sanatana Dharma and distribute it throughout the world. That's the greatest of all welfare activities, is to distribute this knowledge of Krishna consciousness to the world. Much higher than any kind of mundane charitable activities. The greatest charity is to educate people on who they are. You're a spirit soul and you're eternal servant of Lord Krishna. And if one who acts according to Bhagavad Gita, they themselves will become not only spiritually fulfilled, but also Krishna says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. He will supply whatever the needs are, whatever a person's needs are, and he'll protect whatever a person has. So both materially and spiritually, Krishna takes care. So, yeah, it's going on 9 o'clock now. So I will open for comments, questions, etc., etc. Thank you very much for your audience. I hope I did not offend anyone. Please forgive me if I did. And thank you for your association.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot. Prabhuji, we have some questions devotees are putting in the chat box. So I'll read it for you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Do I have I have a chat box here too, don't I? I don't know. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji. This is Pran Chaitanya Prabhuji who is asking. Hare Krishna, Kripanidhi Prabhuji, Dandavats. Thank you for the inspiring class. We see in Srimad Bhagavatam, verse Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana, that all the good qualities of devatas manifest in devotees of the Lord. So, should one still strive in one's practice to practice these qualities, or simply focus one's devotional practice without separate endeavor?
Yeah, it's just like being accountable. Of course, we're engaging in devotional service, but we have to stop and evaluate. We have to evaluate how my behavior, devotional behavior is, what my psychological attitude is towards other devotees and towards non-devotees. What is my, even my, my behavior towards Krishna. I've seen devotees, sometimes they even get mad at God because some tragedy happened in their family. So these qualities here are simply like markers. They're indication markers. Oh, how am I doing? Well, this is what I should be like. These are indicators of I'm making some progress in spiritual life, and I'm coming to the platform of pure devotional service.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Pran Chaitanya Prabhu, you wanted to ask anything more?
This is perfect, Prabhuji. So what you are saying, Prabhuji, is we should use these qualities as a barometer if we are on the right track in terms of our behavior.
Yes, you could repeat that. Who is monitoring the?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji is saying, should we, as you said, we should take it as a barometer, as a measure for our advancement. Yeah.
Yes, a good word, parameter. And the parameters are there to, or also like a valve on a pressurized system. You have valves that release the pressure, or a parameter. Yeah, these are checks and balances. How am I doing in my journey of devotional service? I have to constantly study Bhagavad Gita and evaluate my situation, where I am in the path of devotion. Yes.
Next, Prabhuji, we have the question from Manasa Das. What is the way to control our mind? How can I concentrate and increase our bhakti?
It's very important to wake up before the rising sun. The Brahma Muhurta is most conducive for keeping the mind under control. As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, one should beat the mind with shoes in the morning and beat the mind with sticks in the evening. So we have to deal with the mind with great neglect. The mind is like a wild animal, like a wild dog, always trying to pushing the other senses. It is the CEO of all the other senses, as Prabhupada states in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. As I go, Jayate Vishade Pumsam Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodo Vijayate. By contemplating the objects of the senses, one becomes attached to them. So early morning, strong sadhana is how we control our mind. Deity worship, Kapila Dev says one should remember the Archa-vigraha form of the Lord within his mind's eye. This is also very important, deity worship. It purifies the mind and senses. of course, chanting of the holy names, a regulated amount of time every day. So these are all given by instructions are given by Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction. So that's how we control our mind. It's also going out and distributing this knowledge, distributing the mercy, and engaging the non-devotees in ajnana sukriti, unknown pious activities or devotion service. That's also a form of mind control, because you have to really focus on devotional service when you're out in the public arena. So that's also important. Prabhupada was saying we should always try to go out to the fallen souls, but we must have strong sadhana bhakti, pancharachiki vidhi given by Sanatana Goswami, temple worship and so on. Studying of Srimad Bhagavatam, very important. Worship of Tulsi, very important. Visiting a holy dham like Vrindavan or Mayapur, very important. A satsanga tyag also means not only giving up the association of non-devotees, but a satsanga also indicates only associate with devotees.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. That was very nice on mind control. Then we have Ankit Singh. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. As you said, devotee is completely dependent on Krishna, like Haridas Thakur. Up to what extent a devotee should be dependent on Krishna, and when he should stop self-defense? Because we know...
Stop what?
Self-defense.
Oh, self-defense.
Self-defense, like Haridas Thakur. Because we know that God helps those who help themselves. Suppose someone attacks us, then what should we do? Completely depend upon Lord or try to self-defense?
That's an interesting question. The body belongs to the Lord. So you want to protect the body. We're not going to sit there, or be like an ostrich. The ostrich, when there's danger, he sticks his head in the sand in the desert and hopes that the danger goes away. We know that Prahlad Maharaj, you could see Lord Nrsimhadev in the pillar. And Prahlad Maharaj was, administered poison, put in a pit of snakes, and he was put under the legs of the elephant, and he was thrown off a cliff. In so many ways, they tried to kill Prahlad, but he was always chanting Hare Krishna. So along with defending yourself, which you should do, defend your body, because your body is not your property. It belongs to Krishna. Defend Krishna's property. When Sanatana Goswami decided to commit suicide because he'd developed an itching sores all over his body from drinking bad water in Jharkhand forest, and he was advised by Damodar Pandit. He wasn't advised by Damodar Pandit to kill himself, but he decided to throw himself under the wheels of the Rath Yatra cart. And Lord Chaitanya, being omniscient, came to him and said, "My dear Sanat, if I could attain the lotus feet of Krishna by committing suicide, I'd do it 100 times. But he says, you have given your life and soul to me. So you're killing some other person's property. Where's your character?" So he asked Sanatana Goswami. So this body belongs to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This body belongs to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and your spiritual masters. Ultimately, Krishna is the supreme proprietor. So we have to take care of the body. So if someone attacks us, of course, we defend ourselves. if someone attacks another devotee, our business is to protect that devotee. So in this way, we don't just sit there and let someone shoot us or kill us or stab us or whatever. We try to avoid that person and the onslaught. The body is being used in the service of the mission of Lord Chaitanya, and we want to keep it intact and secure. So there's a fine line between retaliating against someone who may attack you. Prabhupada said we have to tolerate many aggressions from the demoniac class of man. They're very aggressive, especially living in America and Canada. There are many aggressors who are envious of devotees, but we tolerate. Otherwise, we'd be very busy defending all the time ourselves. No, there would be no time for preaching. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So that was very nice. So seeing our body as Krishna's property, and but also you were saying how it's difficult in America and Canada. You're also from Canada, so you have given your practical thing. You have tolerated and pushed on the movement. Thank you, Prabhuji. Then we have Aishwarya Subhadra Mataji. So Mataji is asking, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for your wonderful association. Can you please share how you met Srila Prabhupada?
How I met Prabhupada. I first met Prabhupada through his Back to Godhead magazine in 1968. I was 17 years old or 18, going on 18. And a devotee came up to me in Toronto, Canada, and I bought a Back to Godhead magazine. And Srila Prabhupada's writings are non-different from Srila Prabhupada. He reasons ill who say that Vaishnavas die, for Vaishnavas live in sound. I met his Vapu in the US of A, United States, in 1972. He was traveling all over the world and America and different parts of the world, especially the Western world, Montreal, Toronto, New York, Chicago. So I met him in Portland, Oregon. I was about in the movement for 5 months. And he initiated me in Portland, Oregon, which is on the west coast of the United States. And because there was a bit of a confusion about what my name should be, when I came up for the initiation vows, Prabhupada said, I will choose his name. So I was fortunate to get Prabhupada to choose my name and not one of his assistants. And that was very nice. I was certainly one of the young people in North America who were disillusioned with the modernization, the modern way of society, the modern obsession with material possessions and material, industrialization and merely material pursuits in life and sense gratification. So I was very disillusioned, as were thousands of young men and women. And so we were searching, and Srila Prabhupada came into our midst and taught us how to, love Krishna. Oh, you could. Hare Krishna. I had to mute for a second there.
Yes, Prabhuji. Aishwarya Mataji, did you want to ask anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. It's always nice to hear about Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
There is one more, Prabhuji, Sarita Mataji. She's asking, today in Nectar of Devotion class, we came across a verse from Bhagavatam where Krishna says, Yasyaham anugranami harishyet dhanam shanai. She's referring to that verse. So I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of the wealth. Then relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. This contradicts with Yogakshemam Vahamiham. How to understand this in right perspective, Prabhuji?
Yogakshemam Vahamyam. Yasyaham anugrinami anisye taddanam shane. Could you hold a sec? I have someone here. Just give me 10 seconds. Okay, so yes. For example, Bali Maharaj, he conquered the entire universe. So he had more than he needed. Obviously, he was the emperor of the entire universe. He defeated Lord Indra. The demigods came under his control. So Lord Vamanadev, Lord Vishnu in the form of Vamanadev, decided to take everything away, because actually Bali Maharaj, in the core of his heart, was a devotee of the Lord. He's the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. In this way, also, Srila Prabhupada was caught up in his pharmaceutical business, and which was quite distracting. But Lord Krishna wanted him to go to the West and establish this great movement of Lord Chaitanya's. So he took his material trappings away, his material entanglements, but at the same time, although Prabhupada was certainly struck by poverty, he, had the greatest treasure within his heart, and Krishna empowered him to go to the West. If Krishna likes you, he may give you some material opulence, material benefits, and so on. But if he loves you, he'll take everything away and give you himself. So Bali Maharaj is down in these, I believe, Sutala planet, and the Lord is his gatekeeper there. So he has Krishna, but he lost the universe. So similarly, if someone is too attached to his material possessions and wealth, and the Lord sees that he's actually aspiring to be a pure devotee, the Lord will take this away. And in that way, as Queen Kundi says, Twam akinchana gotram, you're the possession of those who are materially exhausted. That is Krishna. He can only be approached by those with affection, by those who've given up materialistic values like high birth and high education and material opulence and so on. So Krishna strips away these false designations, false attachments, so that you can affectionately address him and develop your love towards him. That is the purport of that verse that Prabhupada would quote, Yes, Yasti Bhakti Yasyaham Anugrinami Hanishyeta Dhanam Shane. That is, Prabhupada also quoted that verse when Krishna took everything away, his company, his pharmaceutical business. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was a very nice example. Bali Maharaj and even of Srila Prabhupada. We have Valar Mataji asking, please share your most favorite verse in Bhagavad Gita and how that changed your life.
most favorite verse in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 18th chapter, I like the verse, Machita Sarvadurgani Mat Prasada Trishyasi. If you become conscious of me, then by my grace, I will remove all the obstacles in your life. Machita Sarvadurgani Mat Prasada Trishyasi. Ahankaram, but if you act out of false ego, not hearing this message of Bhagavad Gita, you will be lost. That verse is very good advice to always remain under the umbrella, lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And if we tend to deviate or drift off into illusion, then if you don't daily read the Bhagavad Gita and remember his instructions, then Nashoshasi Vinakshasi, you will be vanquished. You will spiral down into illusion again. So this is in a way, it's good advice from Krishna to Arjuna. It's also a warning, simultaneous warning. Be careful. Be careful and always listen to the instructions of Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. There is Dharmeshwar Krishna Das, Prabhu, is asking, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Kindly guide do's and don'ts of deity worship. That is his first question. And second one, how to manage risk with dealing of non-devotee.
How to deal with non-devotees and do's and don'ts of deity worship. Do's and don'ts. Do be very punctual and very clean. Do keep your mind on Krishna and the spiritual master while performing deity worship and service. I don't know if you have murtis, but sometimes one may be dressing the deity or bathing the deity, but the mind may be somewhere else outside of the Lord's domain. So keep the mind focused. Cleanliness, punctuality is very important. Be punctual, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said. Don't involve your mind in prajalpa while being on the altar. There's so many ways. Offering prayers to the Lord while bathing and dressing the Lord. Offering prayers to the Lord by offering arti to the Lord. Just like Lord Brahma in the Krishna book, Prabhupada is giving us the prayers of Lord Brahma. He's glorifying the Lord after having stolen the cows and being bewildered by Krishna, who expanded himself as calves and cowherd boys. Lord Brahma offers beautiful prayers. There's prayers by Lord Shiva in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So keep the mind engaged. In deity worship, we want to keep the mind and words on Krishna. So those are do's. Don't chat when you're on the altar or talk or think of Prajalpo or Gramya Katha. Keep the mind clear. How you can nicely dress the deities. Just like when you're cooking, you're thinking how to please Krishna. You're focusing your mind on how to make nice preparation for Lord Krishna. It's very, very absorbing like that. And the second question was, I forgot. The second
How to in the association with non-devotees, meeting with them, how to avoid the risk.
Yeah, Prabhupada said, he gave the example that the monkey was sitting in the tree, wanting to cross the river. So the crocodile was very hungry. And he said, don't worry, just jump on my back and I'll take you across the river, So the monkey thought very cleverly, okay, let me try to get across the river. So in the middle of the river, the monkey's on the crocodile, and the crocodile says, now it's time to eat your heart. And the monkey said, oh, I'm sorry, but I left my heart in the tree. So let's go back and get it. So the crocodile took the monkey back and he escaped back into the tree. Similarly, Prabhupada cited this example. He said, when you're going out on Sankirtan or distributing Krishna consciousness to the non-devotees, you leave your heart back at the temple. You don't accept their association. You give your association to them. You've had a good morning sadhana. You've chanted your 16 rounds. You're Krishna conscious. You're giving your association to them, but you don't take their association. You don't get involved in political talks or this or that or the other. Otherwise, your mind will be contaminated. So that was Prabhupada's advice. Keep your heart with Krishna. Keep your heart in the temple. Keep your heart under the lotus feet of Krishna, but you may be living out in the world of jobs, in the world of business, in the world of the material atmosphere. But Padma Patrami Vambashaha, just like the lotus flower is on the water, but it's not influenced by, it doesn't get wet. It's floating on the water. Similarly, devotees' consciousness is on Krishna, even if he's at work or in a factory or in an office. Prabhupada cites this example also in the Bhagavad Gita, that the non-devotee is thinking about how he's going to enjoy the fruits of his labor, but the devotee is thinking how he's going to serve Krishna with the fruits of his labor. But they're doing the same job next to each other, side by side. One is thinking self-enjoyment, one is thinking Krishna enjoyment. That's the art of devotional service, the art of bhakti yoga.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dharmesh Prabhuji, you had to ask anything more?
So, thank you very much. Wonderful. I mean, it's a very much insightful answer, Prabhuji. It's quite a deep realization. Thank you very much. Dandavad pranams, Prabhuji. Yes.
There is, okay. There is the boy Heth. Heth, you have any question for Prabhuji? So he's asking in the chat box, could you please explain the do's and don'ts of preaching?
Do's. When we preach, we have to preach from our hearts, not from the brain. Oh, I know shlokas, blah, 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 but that's okay. We probably want us to know the key verses in his books, but also we have to have a heart of compassion, that when we speak to someone and we're offering them a book written by Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, they have to feel that we are concerned about them. Sridam Sarva Bhutanam, that we care about them. So we're very friendly, show interest in the person, genuine interest, and they can feel that. And then they'll reciprocate with you. So it's a matter of expressing compassion and empathy towards the living entity. We can meditate on the 5th canto where the living entity is punished in various types of hellish planets for anything from being proud of being wealthy. He goes to Suchi Mukha and gets stitched up like a cloth, or creamy bhojana because he is consuming unnasty articles, various hellish planets, Maharorava and Andatamishra. And so we have to understand that these human beings who are not taking up spiritual life, they will be taken by the constables of Lord Yamaraj along the road to the hellish planet and punished after death. They're criminals. They're just criminals described by Kapila Dev. They're criminals. And they will be dragged down to the hellish planets and punished in many ways, tortured in many ways, and undergo great suffering due to their waste of their human form of life. So one has to reflect on these things while preaching. One has to pray to Radharani and Lord Nityananda to have mercy and compassion. Nitai Padakamala Koti Chandra Shushitala. Lord Nityananda's lotus feet are like millions and millions of moons, very cooling. So we want to help the living entities, the humans, the living beings, become cooled down because they're burning in the fire of material existence. Samsara Davanala Lida Loka, Chanayakar Yanaganaganatvam. The spiritual master is also a person who is going out to preach. He's the Vartmana Pradarshika Guru. You are being ordered by Lord Chaitanya to become a spiritual master and deliver to all the fallen souls. So when you give someone Krishna consciousness, you are at that moment a spiritual master. Don't offend the non-devotees. We have to preach to them in a nice way so they leave with an impression. They get an impression, they don't get a bad taste. We didn't, force them to take a book or force them in some way, but we want to leave them with a nice impression. The art of preaching.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Heth, you wanted to ask anything more?
No, Prabhuji, very nice answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your association.
He's our Balaguru, Heth.
Yeah.
He takes a lot of
The
classes.
future of our movement lies in his hands.
There are devotees asking about how to improve our chanting. Many questions regarding how to improve our chanting. We are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, but our mind is going hither and there with so many responsibilities of family life.
Yeah, my personal experience is my best chanting is in association with others. So we can have group chanting. It's good. As I said, waking up and chanting during the Brahma Muhurta hour is very conducive and helpful to the quality of our japa. Keeping the mind focused, in other words, removing the mind from worrying about daily activities, one's scheduling during the day, what he's scheduled to do, blah blah blah. The mind has to be pulled back to the holy name of the Lord, and trying to hear the holy name while chanting, trying to hear these double syllable Hare Krishna Rama. There's also my god brother Mahatma Das, who on Facebook, he does give japa workshops. So we can also get involved in virtual japa workshops around the world. And that's very important. Or we can have your yatra organize a japa workshop in real time in your temple there and do a workshop. Make a special day and have japa workshops, how to improve quality of our japa. Very important. It's important to avoid becoming complacent around our japa. Oh, I've been doing this for, 20, 30 years. Just going to, rip through my japa, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, and not really pronouncing and focusing and trying to hear the 32 syllables in the mantra, Hare Krishna, and understanding that when we say Hare, Radharani is present in that holy name. When we say Krishna, Krishna is present right there. When we say his name, he's there in that holy name, as well as Lord Ram or Lord Balaram, Rama. He's present there. So if you're speaking to a very important person, you have to be present when you're addressing them. If you meet Prime Minister Modi, you'll be very attentive to what he's saying and what you're telling him, won't you?
Yes, Prabhuji, we'll be very attentive. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving us this valuable time, so much of your time early in the morning.
Thank you. It was my pleasure and honor.
So we'd like you to address us, give us more and more association, more and more. Namanishpur today is in Bangalore, so he had to see the same time he is in some other thing. So he could not join us in the beginning. I don't know how he's joined towards the end. So we want to see you more and more. So all the devotees of Iskcon Mangaluru, Radha Govinda temple. So they're all very, very happy, very much inspired by your association, Prabhuji, today.
Thank you.
There are some people still, how much more time you can approve? I think we already 30 it is 9:30. I think we have not allowed you to take your breakfast also, I think.
Yeah.
We have delayed everything. So I think we'll end it for today, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. All glories to the devotees of Mangalore Temple. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Preaching is the essence. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Kripanidhi Prabhu. Kripanidhi Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Bol.